The city was loud and busy, people rushing in every direction, buses honking and machines humming. In the middle of all this chaos, a small figure appeared at the city gate. The alien woman was unlike anyone the humans had ever seen. Her skin shimmered slightly under the sunlight, and her eyes glowed faintly, yet she was very short, almost childlike in height. Humans walking by barely noticed her at first, and those who did laughed quietly to themselves. "Look at her, she's so tiny, how can she survive here?" Some whispered, pointing and smirking. The alien woman did not reply. She walked calmly, her steps small but precise, as if she knew exactly where she was going. Her clothes were strange, a soft metallic fabric that moved with her body, reflecting colors humans had never seen. Children stopped for a moment, curious, but their parents pulled them away quickly, warning them not to stare. She seemed harmless, and yet there was something in the way she carried herself that made people uneasy, something quiet but strong. The alien woman entered the main street, where humans sold foods, goods, and strange devices. People turned to look at her, some openly laughing at her height, tossing small jokes her way. "Is that a kid or a worker?" one man shouted. The alien woman ignored them, moving past the crowd like a shadow. But her eyes scanned everything, sharp and observant. At the bus station, the human driver noticed her first. A tall man with worn clothes and tired eyes. He usually ignored the crowd, but something about her caught his attention. She was small, yes, but there was a calmness in her movements, a patience and focus that made her stand out. He watched her quietly from behind the wheel. Curiosity growing, the alien woman walked past the buses, watching the machines, touching the metal lightly, and her fingers left faint traces of glowing lines for a moment, as if she was communicating silently with the vehicles. Humans nearby gasped and stepped back, not knowing what they had seen. They whispered about her powers but quickly dismissed it. Thinking it was a trick of the light, she approached a group of humans struggling to lift a heavy crate, and they laughed when she offered to help. "You? Lift this? You will break before you even touch it," one of them said, mocking her. She looked at them calmly, a small smile forming on her lips, and without any words, she lifted the crate effortlessly, holding it above her head for a few seconds. The humans froze, staring, unable to believe their eyes. The crate was large, heavy, and they had struggled for minutes. Yet this tiny alien lifted it as if it was nothing. Some began to whisper, "Maybe she is strong," but most shook their heads, dismissing it, saying it was luck. The bus driver watched closely, leaning on the side of his bus. He had seen many things in his life, but something about her made him feel respect. She was quiet, humble, and yet so powerful. Unlike the humans who tried to show off their strength to impress each other, he felt a strange connection, a feeling that this alien woman was different, not just in strength but in mind. The alien woman continued walking. Observing the city, she did not seem afraid. Even though humans stared and laughed, she moved with grace, weaving through the crowd effortlessly, touching walls, doors, and windows lightly, leaving behind small glowing marks that disappeared slowly. Only the bus driver noticed these marks, feeling a shiver run down his spine. People whispered and pointed as she passed. "She is too small to be important," they said. But the alien woman ignored them. She had a purpose, and it was clear she knew more about the city than anyone around her. She paused near a fountain, watching the water ripple under her gaze. And for a moment the world seemed quieter, slower, as if waiting for something to happen. The bus driver, curious, decided to follow her silently. He stayed behind the bus, pretending to check tickets, but keeping his eyes on her. Something told him that the alien woman was not just another visitor. There was a story in her eyes, a hidden power that humans had never seen. As she walked toward the city square, humans began to gather, not knowing why they were watching. Some laughed, some whispered, but all were drawn to her. The alien woman's presence demanded attention, not by words or sighs, but by something deeper, a strength that could not be measured. And as she stopped in the middle of the square, looking around calmly, the crowd felt a strange tension. They could not understand her, and that made them uneasy. Only the bus driver smiled quietly, understanding for the first time that there was more to this alien woman than anyone had guessed, and he knew that the real story was only beginning. The city was still buzzing with noise, machines clanking, people shouting, and cars moving too fast. The alien woman walked through the streets with calm steps, but the whispers followed her. "She is too small. She can't do anything," some said, pointing and laughing. She ignored them, her eyes scanning everything carefully. noticing corners, alleys, and objects that humans ignored. Near the market, a group of humans struggled with a large, heavy supply crate, filled with boxes too heavy for even several adults to lift together. They were shouting at each other, frustrated. "Lift it faster!" "We don't have all day." One man yelled. "I said it's too heavy, move it yourself." Another shouted. The alien woman stepped closer, her eyes calm, her hands folded in front of her, and said nothing. Humans turned to see her, a tiny figure stepping into their path, and laughed loudly. "What? You want to help? You will break before touching it," one of them sneered. She smiled softly, almost teasing, but made no sound. She bent slightly and placed her hands under the crate, and to everyone's shock, lifted it slowly and steadily. The humans froze, staring at her in disbelief. They had not expected it, and some even stepped back, unsure if they had seen it correctly. The alien woman walked carefully, carrying the crate across the market, her short legs moving faster than they seemed capable of. People gasped, whispering to each other, "It's impossible. She is too small." But most tried to dismiss it as a trick. A small child watched her wide-eyed and ran to tell their mother, "Mom, she is strong. She lifted the big box." But the mother shook her head. "It's just a coincidence. Don't bother her." The alien woman placed the crate down gently, making sure not a single item fell, and then stepped back, her eyes scanning the humans, waiting as if she was expecting something else to happen. The bus driver had been watching quietly from the side, leaning against the bus, his hands resting on the wheel. He felt a mixture of admiration and curiosity. This woman, short and quiet, had more strength than most humans around. But there was also a strange calmness in her, like she knew more than she let on. He decided to stay close, wanting to see what she would do next. Suddenly, a commotion started at the edge of the square. A cart loaded with heavy barrels had tipped over, and people shouted, trying to lift the barrels. But none of them could move them. "Come on. Hurry, we need those barrels," one man yelled, and the barrels started rolling dangerously toward the crowd. The alien woman stepped forward immediately, her eyes sharp, and moved toward the barrels. Humans tried to stop her. "No, you can't do that. You will get hurt," one shouted, but she ignored them, crouching low, placing her hands on the first barrel, and with a smooth motion, stopped it from rolling further. Her small frame barely bent, yet the barrel stayed in place, held by a strength no human expected. The crowd gasped, whispering, some in fear, some in admiration. The alien woman moved quickly, one by one, stopping each barrel, rearranging them safely in place, without any effort showing on her face. The humans who had doubted her now watched in silence, mouths open, unsure how to respond. Some started to clap quietly while others still whispered, trying to convince themselves it was luck. But even luck could not explain the ease with which she moved the barrels. The bus driver stepped closer, still quiet, watching her every move. He had seen humans struggle like this before, but never anyone handle it so calmly and efficiently. He felt a spark of understanding, knowing that this alien woman was not just strong, but intelligent, observant, and capable of thinking faster than humans. As the commotion settled, she straightened, brushing her hands lightly, and looked around at the crowd, her eyes calm but glowing faintly. People stared, unsure whether to fear or admire her, and in that moment the city seemed to pause. Holding its breath, the alien woman did not speak, but her presence alone demanded respect. A human merchant finally stepped forward, trying to challenge her indirectly. "You are strong, maybe, but can you handle something bigger?" he asked, pointing toward a tall, metal structure used to lift goods. The alien woman tilted her head, studying it carefully, her expression unreadable, then slowly walked toward it, her eyes focused, calm, yet hinting at confidence that made the humans uneasy. The bus driver followed silently, heart racing slightly. He had a feeling that the real test was about to begin. The humans watched, whispering among themselves, unsure if they were about to witness something incredible or dangerous. The alien woman's movements were quiet but precise, her every step calculated, and the crowd felt a tension building in the air. As she touched the metal structure, one human whispered to another, "She is too small. She can't do it." But the alien woman's hands glowed faintly for a moment, and the structure shifted slightly, as if recognizing her strength. The crowd gasped again, and the bus driver's eyes widened, realizing that she was not only physically strong, but somehow connected to the machines around her. And in that quiet moment, everyone in the square began to feel it. that this tiny alien woman was not ordinary, that she had a power and purpose that humans could barely understand. Only the bus driver smiled quietly, understanding that the first challenge was just the beginning, and that the story of the alien woman was about to grow even more extraordinary. The alien woman had begun to catch the attention of the city, her small frame moving with quiet strength, her hands steady and her eyes sharp, yet humans do not like to feel powerless. And soon the whispers grew louder, mocking her. "She is too short to matter," some said, pointing at her while others laughed, shaking their heads. A group of young men decided to challenge her directly. "Hey, little one, let's see how strong you really are," one shouted, lifting a heavy metal rod as if to test her. The alien woman looked at them calmly, tilting her head slightly, not with fear but with curiosity. She did not speak, but her eyes glimmered, hinting at a power the humans could not see. The first man stepped closer, swinging the rod in a playful yet threatening motion, expecting her to back away, but she did not move. Her small hands rested lightly on her sides, and with one swift motion she caught the rod mid-air. Bending it slightly with ease, the crowd gasped, some stepping back in surprise while others laughed nervously, unwilling to admit what they had seen. The second man tried to lift a heavy barrel, mocking her. "If you are so strong, lift this," he yelled, tossing it toward her. The alien woman did not flinch, and with a gentle touch, she stopped the barrel from falling, holding it steady for a moment before setting it down perfectly. The humans around stared, mouths open, whispering, "How is she doing this?" "It's impossible." The bus driver watched quietly, leaning against his bus, his hands gripping the wheel. He had seen humans act arrogant before, but this was different. The alien woman faced mockery with calm confidence, showing strength not only physically but mentally. She did not argue, she did not shout, she simply acted, and her actions spoke louder than words ever could. A crowd began to gather, some curious, others eager to see if she would fail. They threw small challenges, like lifting crates, pushing carts, or holding heavy beams, each time expecting her to falter, but each time, she completed the task with quiet ease, her small body moving faster and stronger than any human could imagine. One man, angry and embarrassed, shouted, "She is cheating! There is no way a person that small can do this." But no one could find any trick. The alien woman's strength was real, and it shone brighter with each attempt. The bus driver stepped closer, feeling admiration growing inside him. He had never met anyone like her before. Calm, humble, and unbelievably powerful. Some humans, ashamed of their mockery, tried to apologize. We did not believe you could do it," one whispered, but others still laughed, unwilling to admit the truth. The alien woman nodded slightly, acknowledging them, but she did not celebrate. She only moved on, scanning the crowd as if looking for someone. Anyone who understood her. Then a sudden challenge arose. A cart filled with glowing containers started rolling down a narrow street. The humans frozen in fear, unsure how to stop it. The alien woman's eyes glimmered, and without hesitation, she ran, small feet moving like lightning, reaching the cart before it could hit anyone. She lifted one side with her hands, stopped it completely, and carefully placed it back in its spot. The humans were silent, too stunned to speak. Their laughter and mockery vanished, replaced by whispers of disbelief. How did she do that?" one man asked, stepping back. "It's not fair. She is too small," another muttered. Still unable to understand, the bus driver, standing quietly behind the crowd, shook his head slightly, smiling. He had watched humans belittle each other countless times, but this alien woman had turned their expectations upside down. She was not angry, she was not seeking revenge. She simply acted with strength and intelligence, showing everyone what true power looked like. The young men who had first mocked her stood frozen. Faces red, pride wounded, they had wanted to humiliate her, but instead they were humbled, and a strange feeling of respect began to grow, though they would never admit it out loud. As the alien woman paused in the middle of the street, the sunlight catching her shimmering skin, she looked around calmly, her eyes scanning the humans, and for a moment there was silence. The city seemed to hold its breath, waiting for her next move, waiting to see what she would do. The bus driver knew deep inside that this was only the beginning, and that the alien woman's true challenge was yet to come. A hush fell over the crowd as she walked toward a small platform used for heavy lifting, the humans unsure whether to cheer, flee, or continue mocking. The alien woman's small figure moved gracefully, every step purposeful, and her quiet confidence grew. The bus driver followed, fascinated, sensing that she would soon reveal not just strength, but something far more extraordinary. And in that moment, the city realized that the alien woman could not be measured by size. She had a power beyond human understanding, and anyone who doubted her would soon learn that strength comes in many forms, not always seen, not always loud, but undeniable. The crowd had grown quiet after witnessing her unmatched strength, whispers fading into a tense silence. The alien woman stood in the middle of the street, her small frame calm, yet her presence felt larger than life. Humans had begun to realize that her power was more than physical, and a nervous curiosity replaced their mockery. The bus driver stayed close, leaning lightly on his vehicle, watching her every move. There was something in her eyes, a faint glow like fire hidden beneath water. He had seen many unusual things in his life, but never a presence like hers. It was not only strength, but intelligence, control, and a kind of quiet power that commanded attention without a word. Suddenly, a small metallic device on the street began to hum and shake. The humans froze, unsure what it was. While some stepped back in fear, the alien woman bent down slightly. Placing her hands near the device, her fingers glowed faintly, and the humming sound softened. Then, with a gentle motion, she lifted the device effortlessly into her hands, and it stopped vibrating completely. People gasped, stepping back, whispering urgently, "What is she doing?" "She is controlling it." Somehow, the bus driver's eyes widened, realizing that her strength was not only in her body, but also in her connection to the objects around her. Machines, metal, even simple devices seemed to respond to her touch. As if recognizing her authority, a merchant who had mocked her earlier stepped forward nervously, pointing at a large gate used for loading heavy cargo. "If you are so strong, lift that," he challenged, though his voice wavered with doubt. The alien woman did not hesitate, her eyes glimmering faintly as she approached the gate, her small hands resting lightly on the cold metal. The humans held their breath as she pressed gently. And to everyone's shock, the massive gate began to rise slowly. Controlled completely by her hands, it moved smoothly, effortlessly, the weight disappearing like it had no substance at all. Gasps and whispers spread through the crowd, fear and awe mixing in equal measure. The bus driver stepped forward slightly, a smile forming. He understood now that the alien woman's power was beyond human comprehension. It was not about muscles or size, it was about control, precision, and an intelligence that allowed her to interact with the world in ways humans could barely imagine. Then, a sudden tremor shook the street, small cracks appearing in the pavement as a hidden malfunction in the city's power grid caused alarms to blare. People panicked, running in all directions. Unsure where to go, the alien woman remained calm, her eyes glowing brighter as she moved toward the source of the disturbance. She placed her hands on the ground, feeling the vibrations. Sensing the problem beneath the surface, humans shouted, warning her to step back, but she ignored them, crouching slightly, her fingers tracing the cracks, and slowly, the shaking stopped. The ground smoothed out, the alarms quieted, and the crowd could not believe what had just happened. A man who had been particularly rude earlier took a step back, whispering, She is not just strong, she is something else entirely." The alien woman looked around at the crowd, her gaze calm and yet filled with a quiet authority. She had revealed a small part of her hidden strength, but even that was enough to silence most humans. The bus driver approached her quietly, his voice low. "You are amazing. No one here understands your power." He did not mock her. He did not doubt her. He simply admired her. She turned her eyes toward him briefly, a small smile forming, as if acknowledging that he was one of the few who saw her clearly. As the humans began to recover from their shock, some whispering, others staring in disbelief, the alien woman moved again, this time lifting several crates and barrels at once, arranging them neatly without breaking a sweat. Her small body handled the heavy objects with grace, control, and ease, showing the crowd that her strength was limitless when she chose to reveal it. The bus driver watched quietly, a sense of respect and curiosity growing. He had seen her manipulate metal, stop machines, and control even the tremors beneath the city streets. He realized that her abilities were not just physical. They were intelligent, precise, and mysterious, something humans could never replicate, and in that moment, the city realized that this small alien woman was more than a visitor, more than a curiosity. She was a force of nature in disguise, a hidden power that challenged human pride, and a presence that demanded respect without saying a single word. The bus driver smiled quietly, knowing that the real story of her hidden strength was only beginning. and that the humans around them were only starting to understand the extraordinary being in their midst. The sun was beginning to set over the city, casting long shadows on the streets. The air felt heavier than usual, buzzing with tension. People had begun to notice that something was about to happen. Though no one could say what, the alien woman walked calmly through the square, her small frame moving with purpose, her eyes sharp and glowing faintly. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the side street, followed by screams and shouts. A large cargo crane had malfunctioned, tipping over toward a crowded market. Barrels and boxes tumbling dangerously. People panicked, pushing each other out of the way, some running blindly while others froze in fear, unsure how to stop the massive machine from causing disaster. The alien woman stopped for a moment. Observing the chaos, her eyes narrowing, she did not hesitate, sprinting toward the falling crane with small but swift steps. Her movements were precise, calculated, as if she had already planned what to do before arriving. The crowd watched in awe, some frozen, others whispering, "She will never stop it. It's too heavy. It's impossible." The bus driver standing nearby clenched his fist, leaning forward. He had seen her perform incredible feats before, but this was different. The crane was huge, taller than most buildings around it, and it carried tons of heavy cargo. Yet the alien woman moved without fear, almost as if she had already mastered the laws of gravity itself. She reached the crane and crouched slightly, her hands glowing faintly as they touched the metal. The crane shuddered under her control, swaying dangerously at first, but slowly, it stopped falling, suspended in the air by a force no human could understand. Gasps spread through the crowd, many stepping back in fear, unable to comprehend what they were witnessing. "Look at her. She is controlling it," one man whispered, eyes wide, while others shook their heads, thinking it must be a trick. The alien woman lifted the crane slowly, guiding it back to a safe position, her small hands steady, her calm face hiding the immense power flowing through her. She placed it down perfectly, the cargo intact and the market safe. People began to cheer softly, amazed and terrified at the same time. "She saved everyone." "She is incredible," one woman said while others whispered quietly, still unsure how to react. The young men who had mocked her earlier now looked embarrassed. Their pride wounded, they had tried to dismiss her, but she had just saved lives with a strength no human could match. The bus driver moved closer, his heart racing. He had always believed in her, but even he was amazed at the scale of her power. You are unbelievable," he said quietly, and she looked at him briefly, a small smile forming. Acknowledging him silently, he felt proud, honored to witness her abilities firsthand, knowing that she was extraordinary in every way. Suddenly, a smaller disaster appeared. As a group of unstable barrels began to roll toward a cluster of people, the humans too afraid to stop them. The alien woman turned instantly, sprinting toward the barrels with speed that left humans behind. She caught each one, holding them steady, and set them back safely, moving like a shadow through the crowd, every step precise, every action controlled. The crowd began to whisper among themselves, "She is not just strong, she is perfect. She is beyond us." Fear mixed with awe, as humans realized their own weakness compared to her calm power. The alien woman did not boast, she did not speak, she simply acted, and her actions left no doubt that she was capable of handling anything. The bus driver, feeling the tension, stepped forward, helping where he could, guiding people out of the way. But he knew she was in control. Her hidden strength was more than physical. It was mental, strategic, and something humans had never seen before. It was clear that she could sense danger before it happened. Moving with precision and confidence, as the sun dipped lower, shadows stretching across the streets, the alien woman paused, surveying the square. The humans who had mocked her, the ones who had whispered doubts, now looked at her with a mixture of respect and fear. She had proven herself in the greatest test yet, controlling machines, saving lives, and staying calm under pressure. And the bus driver, standing quietly nearby, smiled softly, understanding fully that this was not the end, but only a sign of what was to come. The alien woman's true power had been revealed, but it was still only the beginning of her story. The city had witnessed her strength, and they would never forget the small alien woman who could move the impossible. The city square was quiet now, the echoes of chaos fading into whispers. Humans who had mocked the alien woman before now stared at her with wide eyes, unsure how to feel. Some were amazed, others were afraid, but all knew that she was extraordinary. The alien woman stood in the middle, small yet commanding, her eyes glowing faintly as she surveyed the people around her. The bus driver watched her closely, leaning against his bus, heart racing. He had seen her handle impossible tasks, lift heavy machines, and save lives. Yet even he felt a sense of awe at her calm presence. He knew she had more to show, and this moment was about to change everything. A group of merchants approached cautiously, still nervous after her demonstrations. We were wrong about you," one admitted quietly, voice trembling. "We thought you were too small, too weak, but you saved us." The alien woman nodded slightly, acknowledging their words, but she did not boast or celebrate. She simply remained calm. Letting her actions speak louder than words, the crowd began to shift. Humans who had laughed before now whispering among themselves. Some started clapping softly, while others nodded in silent respect. The young men who had mocked her earlier looked down, shame on their faces, pride replaced by understanding. They realized that their judgment had been shallow, and that true strength was more than size or appearance. A child stepped forward timidly, looking up at the alien woman with wide eyes. Are you really strong?" the child asked, voice full of wonder. The alien woman knelt slightly, smiling softly, and placed a gentle hand on the child's shoulder. "Strength comes in many forms," she said quietly, her voice calm and kind. "Not all can be seen, but it is always real." The bus driver felt a warmth in his chest, seeing the way she interacted with humans. Her hidden strength was not only physical, but also emotional, her calm confidence inspiring trust and admiration. Even those who had doubted her now felt a strange respect, understanding that she was different, special, and not to be underestimated. Suddenly, a small emergency arose. A cart of fragile goods had tipped near a corner. Humans panicked, unsure how to handle it. The alien woman moved immediately, catching the items with ease, rearranging them carefully, and setting them down safely. The crowd gasped again, but this time their fear was replaced by admiration. The humans realized that her abilities were consistent, reliable, and focused, not random. A man who had laughed the loudest earlier approached slowly, his head bowed slightly. I judged you unfairly," he said, voice low. "I thought you were weak, but you have shown us strength is more than we see." The alien woman looked at him, eyes calm, and nodded once, silently accepting his apology. There was no anger, no revenge, only understanding, teaching humans that humility and respect were important. The bus driver stepped forward, placing a hand on her shoulder gently. "You've changed their minds. You've shown them who you really are," he said quietly. Admiration in his voice, she looked at him briefly, her eyes glowing faintly as if acknowledging his support. She had already seen that he understood her, and that gave her a quiet comfort, even in the midst of so many humans. The city square now felt different. The air lighter. Humans moved with new awareness, whispers of respect replacing earlier mockery. Children stared openly, inspired by her calm power. Adults nodded quietly, realizing that strength was not always obvious, and that the small alien woman had taught them a lesson they would not forget. The alien woman then moved slowly toward the fountain in the center of the square, her eyes glimmering softly as the water reflected her shimmering skin. People watched quietly, some stepping closer, no longer afraid. The bus driver followed at a respectful distance, knowing this was a moment of change for the city, a turning point in how humans viewed her. And in that quiet moment, humans began to see her differently. The small alien woman who had been dismissed, laughed at, and doubted was now respected, admired, and trusted. Her hidden strength had revealed itself not only through actions but also through character, patience, and calmness under pressure. The bus driver smiled quietly, knowing the final acceptance was near, and that her journey of showing humans the true meaning of strength was just beginning. The crowd remained silent for a few moments longer, then slowly applause began to rise. Soft at first, then louder. Humans had changed their minds, and the alien woman stood quietly in the middle, accepting this newfound respect without pride. She had turned the tide, shown her strength, and inspired everyone around her. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the square, the bus driver knew that the alien woman was not just powerful. She was a symbol, a reminder that true strength comes in unexpected forms, and that those who are underestimated can often surprise the world in ways no one could imagine. The city square was calm now, the sun fully set, leaving soft orange and purple light across the buildings. Humans moved quietly, whispering among themselves. Still amazed at what they had witnessed, the small alien woman stood in the middle, her eyes glowing faintly, calm and confident yet gentle. Her presence seemed to fill the square, and people could not help but notice. The bus driver leaned on his vehicle, smiling quietly, feeling proud and relieved. He had watched her from the very beginning, seen humans dismiss her, laugh at her, and now he saw the change. The alien woman had earned their respect without anger, without shouting, only by being herself, strong, calm, and capable. A group of children approached her cautiously, eyes wide with curiosity and admiration. "Are you really the strongest?" one asked softly. "Stronger than anyone else?" The alien woman knelt slightly, smiling warmly. "Strength is not only in muscles," she said gently. "It is in patience and courage, and in helping others." The children nodded slowly, understanding more than words could explain. Humans who had mocked her before began stepping forward slowly and cautiously. We misjudged you," one merchant said quietly, voice full of humility. "You saved us, and showed us what true strength is," another added. "We should have respected you from the start, not laughed at your size." The alien woman looked at them with calm eyes, nodding slightly, acknowledging their words. Even the young men who had tried to challenge her before now stood in silence. Heads bowed, pride replaced with respect. They realized that their arrogance had blinded them, and that strength was not always what it appeared to be. The alien woman had proven that courage, intelligence, and calm determination could outweigh size, loudness, and arrogance. The bus driver stepped closer, gently. "You've changed more than just the city today," he said quietly. "You've changed how humans see strength, and maybe even how they see themselves." She looked at him briefly, a soft smile forming, and nodded, knowing he had understood her from the beginning, that he had never doubted her. Unlike most humans around, a soft breeze moved through the square, carrying the faint sounds of chatter, whispers, and admiration. The alien woman walked slowly among the humans, small steps but purposeful, touching a few hands gently, leaving a feeling of calm and reassurance. People felt safer around her, stronger, as if her presence had given them courage as well. Some merchants began speaking openly, offering help, thanking her for saving the city and its people. The alien woman accepted their words with quiet grace, but she did not linger in pride. She understood that her work was not finished, that respect must be earned continually, not just through a single act of strength. The bus driver followed her, walking beside her, feeling a strange mix of admiration and wonder. He realized that she had taught the humans an important lesson, not only about physical power but also about humility, kindness, and understanding. The city itself seemed to change. The way people looked at each other now different, quieter, more thoughtful. The alien woman paused near the fountain in the center of the square, looking at her reflection in the water, shimmering faintly. Humans around her began to see her differently, seeing not just her size but the strength and wisdom in her eyes. Children stared in awe. Adults nodded quietly. Some even whispered, "She is amazing, more than we imagined." The bus driver spoke softly. "They will remember this day for a long time, and you will always be the one who showed them true strength." She looked at him briefly, a faint smile touching her lips, and nodded. She had shown humans what it meant to be strong, patient, and kind, and in return, they had learned respect and humility. As the city lights flickered on, casting golden glows across the square, the humans who had doubted her now moved freely, not mocking, not afraid, but inspired. They had seen that strength could come in small forms, quiet forms, and from someone they never expected. The alien woman had turned mockery into admiration, doubt into respect, and fear into inspiration. The bus driver stood beside her, watching as the city embraced her quietly. Feeling proud to know her, he knew this was not the end, but the beginning of a new story. One where humans would remember the small alien woman who had taught them that strength was not just size, and that those who are underestimated could often change the world in ways no one imagined. And in that peaceful moment, the city seemed to breathe differently, as if honoring her presence. The alien woman smiled softly, calm and confident, knowing that she had left a mark not through anger or pride, but through courage, wisdom, and quiet strength. The humans finally understood, and the alien woman had found not just respect but a place in their hearts.